Good morning, everyone, or good morning to anyone on the East Coast of the United States. Happy lunchtime to my friend Ian Harkin. Good morning from New York, Ian.
Good morning, Kelly. How are you?
I'm good. I was sort of thinking to myself this morning, there's probably few people that I would be up and this enthusiastic at this hour of the day. And I haven't even had a full cup of my berries tea yet. Anyway. For those who don't know me, I'm Kelly Hoey. I am the author of Build Your Dream Network. And here with me today is my friend Ian Harkin. He is the CEO of Lottie Dolls, an award-winning toy company based in Donegal, Ireland. And we connected because of, I'm going to say, the conference formerly known as Inspire Fest, Future Human in Dublin. And I was a speaker and I came home with this amazing doll in my gift bag. A doll that kind of looks like this. I don't give them all away, Ian. I do keep a few. Well, I'll keep this one, this collector's item of Sinead. So for those who don't know Lottie Dolls, God bless, is there a person out there who doesn't? Pay attention, people. All right, Ian, tell us about Lottie.
Okay, so Lottie's based on and inspired by kids as opposed to adults. She's based on a 9-year-old child, and everything she does is focused on childhood as opposed to what you want to be when you grow up. It's all about empowering kids right now, and it's about, celebrating childhood and empowering kids.
Well, isn't that funny? Isn't that what toys are supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And one of the things I love, well, besides the fact that you're inspired by kids, everything is based on them. Your marketing from that amazing campaign you did with the Stargazer Lottie that went to the first stall at the International Space Station. You focus things on kids' activities, but you've really, as a smaller business owner, you've really embraced technology. And you seem to me that you really straddle this really great online, offline kind of integration of your marketing. Can you talk about like how you're using social? And then I want to also dive into like how you're finding people like our good friend, Elena Rossini, who was the one who made the video for Stargazer Lottie. But talk about how you're using social.
Yeah, some of it's out of necessity, really. It's the toy industry as such is dominated by 4 or 5 very large companies, and they've got huge marketing budgets. They've also got routes to market tied up in, historically with physical stores. So you have to start thinking about how you can do things a little bit differently, because the challenges of actually getting into some of those large stores, first of all, from a small company, trying to scale up the production side of it, the funding. We had to look at routes to market that we could sort of smooth out our growth curve a little bit so that we can manage the cash flow side of it. And by going direct to consumer, it really allowed us to do that. I mean, I guess we use the Amazon platform quite a bit as well. So you can really grow your brand on that platform. In the US, the Amazon does around 30% of all toys sold in the US at the moment. So, there is a lot of scope there for growth. So we use online to drive awareness, and we try to convert them then on our own site. And if we can't, then we always have the Amazon platform to back it up. That's just purely for online. In terms of store presence as well, we're in around 3,000 stores right around the world, with mainly with independent retailers. And a lot of those, I absolutely love them. And I would say, not joking, I would say I know about 1,000 of them by name.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's built up over, what is it? We launched in 2000, like 9 years now that we've been, 8 years since we launched. And I've built up those relationships by going to trade shows right around the world or through communicating online. And so those are relationships. Like, our brand because of the values and the history and the the fact that we're a little bit different and that we're focused on childhood as opposed to what you want to be when you grow up, it takes a little bit of explaining at the beginning, and independent retailers do that better than anyone. And online social media allows you to do that. It allows you to do it very cheaply as well. So you can reach your customers, and those customers, they generally, with their friends, they have a lot of things in common, so they'll share it, and you can reach a lot of people online without spending a lot of money. So yeah,
sort of have that organic, as they say. Talk about how you found, because I can pull open my book, because Lottie Dolls does make an appearance because of, as I mentioned, our good friend Elena Rossini, the independent filmmaker. She posted a tweet that she was so excited to get that Lottie doll from speaking at InspireFest / Future Human in Dublin, and you found the tweet. Like, you could have just said, "Oh, that's nice. Hey, thanks, whatever." But talk about what sparked you to then say, "Who is this person? Why do I want to get to know them?"
Yeah, I suppose I'll go back a step further than that as well. Yeah. From day one, whenever we launched Lottie, on our packaging, we have a little medal. Is the medal on this one? Is it? We might have removed it since, but there's a little medal, and it's all about.
Might have been in here somewhere.
Yeah, about empowering women. We have the suffragette colours on it as well. So it's the InspireFest lineup. Whenever I first seen it, which it was literally the first episode of InspireFest, I came across it and I contacted Anne, our mutual friend Anne O'D, and we offered to Anne that we would send Lottie dolls to all of the speakers, and we built up a relationship with them since then. Yeah. So Elena, something about her content really reached me, and we had a lot of mutual interest in what she was trying to do with her content, and I loved her work. So I reached out to her, and she got back to me straight away. And the first video we did then was in the build-up, actually, to our doll going up to space. So with little Abigail over in Canada. So that was the first doll or video that we did with Elena, and it really touched a lot of people whenever they seen it. So we've worked with Elena and I on pretty much every video that we've produced.
So I mean, this is a great, sort of two pieces on all of this, of course, but there's an element of, all right, if someone is looking to work with business owners, what I'm hearing from you, and I would say to anyone watching and listening this is, share your interests, find you don't have to go and search the company, like share your interests, share your content, show what you're capable of doing so that you can be found on these mutual interests, as opposed to, I can only imagine the endless pitches that you get from people saying that how they can get you more followers or up your Facebook ads or some such BS.
Yeah. It's also engaged socially as well. So, if there are companies that you want to work with, then start communicating. Or there's so many people that I've worked with where initial conversations might have just happened on Twitter, or it might have been a comment someone said or a recommendation from someone on Twitter that then leads you to checking out what their work was, and then contacting them either on LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever platform that works for them.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm thinking from the business owner's point of view, the fact that you see people, I want to say, in a social context and how they're engaging and what they do, might say a whole lot more about, someone you may want to work with, but given that, when you're dealing with, smaller budgets and looking to have the same kind of impact as someone with a big budget, the dollars matter. So who's someone who you want to work with, and why as a business owner you'd want to personally be on social and engaging on it so that you actually see, who is this person? Do I want to trust my dollars, my marketing, my brand, my reputation, to this person, and tie it to this person?
Yeah, the other thing is too, like if you're on the same wavelength from a values perspective, there are lots and lots of little micro sort of things that happen that you don't really realize that are happening until you reflect maybe back 2 or 3 years, and there are little opportunities that might happen, or it might be their extended network that you get introduced to. Like our friend Elena, she's introduced me to I don't know how many people, but yeah, it's incredible when your values are matched. Little things happen that you can't plan for, and yeah, I guess it's all part of that network, and the benefits are huge and very difficult to measure, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was sort of thinking, it's like, yeah, and then we all become like this bad rash that you have to put up with, Ian.
Yeah. Yeah, people even get landed with like babysitting duties and.
Listen, those of us who like to be like the godmother and an aunt hanging around with your children is a joy, because as soon as they get a little bit too, high strung or hungry or ready for bed, it's like I get to hand them back. It's beautiful. Yeah. A beautiful arrangement. We were talking before we jumped onto this interview, sort of how are things. How are you handling what do you look this opportunity right now? You mentioned small independent, toy stores. You mentioned the volume of toys that are sold on Amazon. It's probably only gone up at this point. But how are you, as a growing venture, a smaller business, like how are you doing, and how are you kind of managing through it?
Yeah, well, I mentioned there, just before we came on, that like 50% of our business is selling to distributors who then sell to retailers, and that side of our business has just stopped completely. And from speaking to some of those distributors, like there are a lot of challenges. A lot of them will have customers that sell online as well, so they are selling through in their inventory, but the logistics side of it and being able to ship products out to them, there are lots of challenges as well. So I suppose there's 2 different ways that you can look at it, and we've looked at it as a gift, really, like that. It's given us the gift of time, I suppose, more than anything else. It's allowed us the time to sit back, really analyze our business, and where have we been, where are we going, what's worked, and what are the activities that we're doing as well. Like, so everything's been measured now. So from the content that we produce, to the products that we sell, to the countries that we're in, or the marketing activities, everything is being, we were doing, I suppose, measurement, but not to the level that we are doing right now. So yeah, I've really looked at it positively, and I think the team have as well. There's lots of challenges, I suppose, because everybody's now working from home, and there's the different lifestyle changes that you've got to work with, and everybody's different as well. Not 2 people work the same way, so some people are probably working a lot more, and you have to be worried about them as well, because is that healthy for them? Are they allowing themselves breaks, and are they going to burn out? And then other people who need to have routine. So, you need to make sure that you respect their boundaries as well with time. So yeah, it's all different, but it's all great. It's all positive, I think. Yeah.
Well, I would say when we had talked earlier this year, when we fortunately got to see each other in person, you sort of had been fortunate from, I want to say, ordering product before Chinese New Year. So you sort of had avoided some of the production shutdown in China. You so avoided going to a toy toy show in Hong Kong, right when it would have been sort of peak infection period before we knew it, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very glad to hear that also too with your team that that you're looking at this time as a gift and using it as a gift, because not everyone is sort of, we all react to I want to say crises differently, and that's okay and that's fine. But I'm feeling like I'm very glad for you that this is this time that you've like, right, what's working, this is a gift of this opportunity to really analyze our business and move forward with strength.
Yeah, I mean, back in January, I was looking at this and thinking, you know, it's really only going to affect the likes of our business who might make product in the Far East, and you know, we'll deal with it and we'll get on with it. And then, you know, by the time I think I met you in February, it was starting to spread around the world and changes were beginning to happen, but it was still very much everybody had their doors open, and then all of a sudden it's affected everybody. And to be honest, we're very, very lucky in that we have, you know, the online sales to keep us going. Otherwise, we would have to make, you know, really big decisions on just, you know, going into hibernation for a few months, and which also we would have survived through. But it's just we've been fortunate. So with the window of opportunity that we do have, we're just using the time to really reflect on what has worked and what, you know, where we can go going forward as well.
That's awesome. I want to give a shout out to our good friends at the IBO in New York.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here with us. An amazing supportive community. And I know they had posted out some pictures yesterday on social media from when you had attended.
Yeah. I went to a morning breakfast there when I was in New York last time.
Yeah,
got to meet the whole team, and they were excellent. Great to meet them.
Oh, that is a great group. Let's talk about some, you know, of the other things that you have, because I'm hoping that you're going to tell me that there's A, more profiles coming, and B, more activities. Now that I have discovered your activities page on the Lottie Dolls website, I'm a bit of a fanatic of referring people there. Talk to me, why spending time, energy, your small business resources, creating that kind of activity and content, because you have everything from STEM to coloring to, you know, I want to say, you know, spelling, the alphabet, and then you have a whole section on strong women, which are very researched profiles. Ian, why are you spending time and money doing that as a small business owner?
Yeah, so I guess one of the previous people that you've interviewed covered it quite well in persona analysis. So we've been looking at the different personas, the different people, customers that we have, and the content that they like. And I suppose it's, you know, what activities can we provide to people that don't cost any money, and that we can give them to keep their kids occupied during this time as well. So we have been doing it for a number of years. I think we've been doing it since we started, really, but we've really amplified it now in the last 3 to 4 months. So yeah, it's all stuff that builds in, you know, fits in with our values. It's all old-fashioned play. You know, it's we like kids to use their imagination and explore things, as opposed to, you know, having predefined play patterns. It's all about using their own imagination, and coloring and learning as well is what that's all about.
That's awesome. And who does all the research on these strong women, and how do you select them?
Yeah, we've got a great team in-house that does it for us. So my niece is actually one of them.
You're not an elected official. Nepotism is fine, Ian.
Nepotism is fine. You can do loads of things when you run your own business, but no. No, we've got a great team. All of them. They're all really pulling together during this time as well. I'm very proud of them. Actually, everybody that we've had since we since we started the business. One of the things that I actually take the most pride of is actually people that have been employed by us and then go out and start their own businesses. So that, I guess the benefit of what we're doing is that we're teaching people, and it's such a small team that we're very open about, and we share data as well with people right throughout the team. So from, how our sales performance is going, how our marketing performance is going. So they learn, little bits of all of the business. And for then people to go out and have the confidence to, go out on their own, that's probably the most rewarding thing that I get out of this business so far.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Sort of hearing you say that is like, when business owners don't share, and this is of all sizes, don't share, what is going on because, for whatever reasons, but you get more invested in the success when you know and understand, how you fit within, whether the bigger, the larger sort of vision and organization. You think of a big company. You and I have both worked for big companies. You feel like a cog in the wheel unless you see and feel part of that bigger picture. And then there's this other element that I sort of always say to people. It's like, everyone goes out there who works for your company. They're now, brand, so brand ambassador for Lottie, whether they're working for the company or they're a former employee. And why wouldn't you want people to go out there and be successful and talk about how they had this great training for working for Ian Harkin and Lottie Dolls and doing that? So that's phenomenal.
I hope they do.
I don't know. There might be a page on the dark web.
Yeah.
We'll go and look for it later. Some of the other content that you've done, which I'm a massive fan of, is the content you've done with Lottie Dolls with other small businesses and creators and artisans, creatives in the region. Talk about that for a little bit for people who aren't familiar with Donegal and the history of sort of artisans and creatives.
Yeah, so Donegal is on the northwest coast of Ireland, and I suppose more than any other part of Ireland, we have a really rich culture in craft and design making. So late last year, I did a campaign where I went out to as many of them as I possibly could, and I asked them to create a little outfit for Lottie based on their designs. So I then personally went to their place of work, took some photographs, and also then took it around all of the different locations, scenic locations in Donegal, and took some photographs and posted them over a period of a week. So yeah, it was great because again, I think that community spirit of everybody helping each other, you don't have to be competitors the whole time. I think collectively you can really amplify each individual voices. And yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world. It's like, I think I read a tweet somewhere online that you never meet a person from Donegal that's not proud to be from Donegal. So yeah.
Oh, I said, as soon as we're able to fly again, I'm going to be over there. I said, get that guest room ready, you and Mary McKenna. I tell you, between the friendships and the scenery, it's like, got to get there. What sort of advice or guidance would you have for other small business owners? Here we go. There we go. We definitely do, Ian.
That's nice.
Yeah, there we go.
Marie used to be our head of marketing and social. So yeah.
Oh, awesome! Thank you for proving us right, Marie.
She's one of those people who went out and set up on her own. She's great, actually. Anybody who's looking for help, Marie was there pretty much since the very beginning. So Marie is excellent at social and digital marketing.
Oh, fantastic. Well, there we go. So Marie, put the name of your company in the comments so I can pull it up so people know where to find you. So we always like to, people want to know who you've worked with and, like, hey, I can trust you. You save them the research, you save them the agony. I was saying sort of advice for other small business owners right now, Ian, based on your own experience and kind of reflections, or maybe small business communities. Maybe even that's even a better way of looking at it, because there is this element of needing to work together so that when we come out of isolation, as I look out my window, that we have the world that we want to have.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, like, for small businesses, your website is your window into your business. So make sure that it is reflective of what you are and what you offer. So spend some time on that. There are lots of free tools as well that you can get to analyze the performance of your website. You can, there's tools like Moz, there's Google themselves, in Google search, there's maybe Google has web analytics tools. There are about 10 different things within Google itself that can help you, drive more traffic to your website. Also, using Google Analytics tools itself, where's your traffic coming from? And how can we get more of it? You can use, Moz can do competitor analysis. So you can benchmark yourself against where your competitors are, where they get their traffic from. So it's able to measure inbound links and things like that. So yeah, lots of work that you can do on your website. And I think that's where you should start. And then use your social channels. So Facebook is probably the biggest for us. I'm not a huge fan of it, but
it's one of those things. You and I were talking before. Like, there's some of these platforms you have got to make a business decision in terms of even if you're not personally getting value from it. If you're like, but my customers are, therefore we need to have a presence because and you can just use it. You don't need to feed Facebook's business by buying ads and doing, because there's too many business owners I meet that are sort of like, but how do I? And I'm like, no. You don't put up an ad. You need to engage. You need to be social.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we would have gone through periods where we did a lot of paid advertising on Facebook, and we've pretty much stopped it completely and gone purely for organic content that people want to engage with. We went from Facebook allows you to break down your audience and create separate accounts by territory as well. So we were at a place where we had 12 different territories that we were posting to on a daily basis. It was really reposting existing content.
Mm-hmm.
But, we then decided to amalgamate all of those, put it into a single one, and then really focus on our own brand content rather than reposting external content. Yeah. So I would say some of that pulling it in-house, being able to speak your own brand voice, understanding. And I think earlier when you mentioned, kind of knowing your audience and where it was, that was the conversation. I bet that was the conversation I had with Lyndon Johnson at Comms Bar in Toronto. I'm thinking that's might be the one that you had been referring to. And they had Lyndon on his website, which is comms.bar, has amazing worksheets in terms of really understanding audience and how to kind of think about, how am I engaging them and how am I interacting with them to get more of what I need. But yeah, I'm going to say that those are some really great tips in terms of, all right, and I love your comment that your website is your window into your business, and the number of people who have they've been so busy with their head down doing the business. Yeah. Utilize your social channels as well to, like, when you're posting on social as well, put links back to your website so that you're taking people to your website. It's not, it's great having content on there and people will like and share and comment, but ideally what you want is to take people to your website where they can find out more about the content that you're doing. So every third or fourth post should have a link back to your website.
Right. And check those links.
Yeah,
Nothing worse than broken links. Nothing worse. I want to, you know what? I'm just like looking at my little notes. I know one of the things we had talked about earlier, and I want to go back to this when we talked about how your team was doing. You had mentioned that you thought that management had kind of flattened.
Yeah, I suppose we're using a couple of new tools. Actually, I was out of the country earlier this year, and when I was away, one of our team members, he set up Slack for us. So pretty much all of the team adopted it and implemented it, and I didn't even know about it, which was great because when I returned, everybody was going, "Oh yeah, you need to get on Slack." Where
with the cat's away, the mice will play.
Yeah. It was great. First of all, for them to take that initiative to go and do it, and when I returned, I was quarantining myself for a few weeks anyway. So we probably were quarantining ourselves a few weeks before everybody else. Well, before it became compulsory, I suppose, here. Yeah. And that this tool allowed us to communicate together. It gives everybody in the business, sometimes, you know, when you're at your stand-ups, it's basically using Kanban sort of stand-up, you know, meetings each day, and it's formalizing those. But I suppose when you're able to, you know, you can, depends, it might be a profile photograph that you've got up of yourself. You don't necessarily need to put on video like we're doing right now. People, I find, are able to speak an awful lot more in our morning meetings. They're not less reserved. They don't have to. They don't. I suppose I think they've got a little bit more courage in airing their opinions as well. And also, we as a business, I think we're sharing a lot more information because of that through all parts of our business. I think we're all in it together. So. Yeah, that's a great collective spirit, I think. Yeah.
I would say the astute employee of yours saying that we need to do this, or, you know, they had some gut feeling or couldn't understand why everyone else was using Slack and why wasn't Lottie. Yeah. That's awesome. But also too, thinking about the fact that you do travel so frequently because you're in Donegal, and last time I checked, the major toy shows were not happening in Donegal.
Yeah, pity. They should. Yeah. No, yeah. So our main market is the US.
Yep.
And so we have to go to the New York show each year. Then we have one in London, one in Nuremberg, and Hong Kong. So this was the first time in, I think, since 2005, so like 15 years that I didn't go to Hong Kong. Again, that was a conscious decision at the time. Not necessarily, I think I wouldn't have known beforehand that COVID was around the corner. It's more about weighing up what you can do without being there as well. So I think trade shows could be one of those areas that people really start to analyze. Do I really need to do those? There are a few where you have to, like for us, the one in Germany is the most important because it's where we meet all of our key distributors, and you need to, you know, work those relationships as well. Yeah. In America, the one that I like the most is Astra. So it's the American specialty toy retailers, and again, that whole show is based more around the social side of it. You know, you're at the trade shows during the day, but everybody goes out together at night. It's like one big family reunion. And from a networking perspective, it's huge. And it's real people as well. I think when you're dealing with big mass retailers, you're dealing with buyers who are maybe 2 years out of college, and they're aggressive, and they're being
proving themselves. They're early on. They've got numbers, metrics to hit. Yep. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas when you're dealing with owner buyers of stores, it's very much about personal relationships. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm just remembering the pictures you posted from the trade show in Germany when you were positioned next to the singing polar bears, singing Christmas songs for 5 days straight.
Yeah. Every year they have the same stand next to me, but actually I block it out. I think the first day the trauma hits me again. Yeah, but
you're gonna have to repost that so people know what we're laughing about. But I was like, oh my Lord, my friend, how are you maintaining your sanity? But that's a really great point over trade shows, and as business owners and as individuals, where and how do we need to spend our time? And there's been an element of, oh, I need, sort of FOMO or necessity or the ease, like even with TSA pre-check and even with like all the extended security, we've had an ease of travel. We now have a different level of friction that has been inserted. And so maybe this will cause us to be far more astute and I'm going to say sort of strategic and thoughtful about what do I really need to do? And is there another way that I can showcase my brand, my toys, my company without getting on a plane, standing in the Javits Center next to a singing polar bear?
Yeah, exactly. And it also it's where you get value for money from as well. I mean, some of the trade shows that you go to, the setup costs that are imposed because of unionized labor is incredible. And you probably get it more so in the US than any other country. When you weigh up, the cost of having a stand there for a week or whatever it is.
Right.
And how you might be able to use that money elsewhere, all of those things need to be measured.
Right. Yeah, well, you can get pretty imaginative with some of those costs, and that's, a lot of samples you could send out, or a lot of dinners you could buy, or a lot of something else versus hope and a pray that somebody walks by and makes a big enough order to be it worth the cost.
Yeah, you can be a lot more direct with a lot of your activities as well. Whereas, exactly as you say, it's a hope and a prayer. Sometimes you spend all this money, put up a beautiful stand, and then hope that people come. I mean, you try and book as many meetings as possible, but even then, will they turn up, and will they turn up on time? And maybe you're with another customer, and you leave too many things to chance. Whereas, there are activities that you can do outside of trade show time that can have a lot bigger impact.
Yeah. All right. What's coming up for Lottie? I need to know. I need the inside scoop. What's coming? What new activities? What new Lotties? What's happening?
So actually tomorrow, I may as well. I'll announce it here. So we've for the last 3 or 4 years, we've been, I think it's 4 years now in a row, we've been working with the Women's Engineering Society in the UK. So every November there is Tomorrow's Engineer Week, and we send out throughout the year a Lottie doll to about 200 women working in STEM careers. So they take Lottie to work for a week, our Finn, our boy doll, and they take pictures throughout their day, and they post them on social during that week in November, Tomorrow's Engineer Week. So we decided just a few weeks ago, like, what can we do with all these kids that are home and throughout this COVID lockdown? And we decided that we'd come up with a competition to ask kids to design a little soapbox racer for Lottie. So we're going to ask kids from right around the world to design a soapbox racer from material that they find at home. So we'll
kids, parents, if you're watching this, do not throw out the tissue boxes and the toilet roll.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to get them as creative as possible. I don't know if you can ever remember that episode from The Simpsons where Homer designs this little car and brings it to production. But we will do the same. We're going to bring it to production.
I would say, I want to get back to that. As soon as you said The Simpsons, no, the episode I remember being Canadian is when Marge is nagging at Homer and he's reading the paper, ignoring her. And he finally looks up from the paper and he says, Marge, look, they're having a referendum in Canada. All of us in Canada enjoying that, like Homer Simpson would have it. Anyway, we digress. Back to Lottie. So soapbox racer tomorrow. All the details will be on your website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. What are the categories? I'm like looking at my house.
We want because our follower base are consumers, or the kids that play with their dolls are. We've got an under 6 category, which is like a coloring competition, and then over 6 right up to, well, no end on it, no limit on it. So we want parents and kids to make these little soapbox racers from the material that they find at home. And design it, and then send us the pictures and a little bit of commentary on what their creation does and says about them.
That's awesome.
So it's very much in line with what we do on our STEM side of our business. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. We did one back in our 2nd or 3rd year where at the time there weren't any superhero cartoons out there for girls or any films. It was pre the Wonder Woman movie. So we asked kids to send us in competition entries. So I think we had about 3,000 entries from right around the world. And a little girl from the States, Lily, sent us in a winning entry, and we made it into an outfit, and it's still one of our best sellers. So yeah.
You know what? I'm going to make sure that my friend Julia Landauer sees this. To get her making a soapbox racer. I don't know if you saw my interview with Julia. Julia is, this is going to plant a seed, Ian.
Yeah.
Julia, first off, grew up in New York City. She has a STEM degree from Stanford. Are you ready for the trifecta? She drives NASCAR.
Oh, wow.
Exactly. I'm going to make sure Julia sees this competition, because I'm going to be like, Julia, get on it. Make that version of that. She was going to
needs to be Lottie. Needs to fit Lottie well. So Lottie is 7.5 inches. That Lottie is of Sinead Burke. Yeah. So she's 7.5 inches or 18 centimeters in height. So just needs to fit in Lottie doll.
All right, I'm gonna get Julia on it, because she was supposed to be driving NASCAR in Europe right now, and instead she's self-isolating, at home in North Carolina. So there we go. I'm gonna get Julia on this. So yeah, I think Lottie needs a Julia Landauer ensemble. Yeah. Anyway, or a profile, strong women. There we go. I'm saying planting seeds, Ian. Planting seeds. Ian, it is always a pleasure to chat with you. Just I want to say about your business. I think you always share such wonderful insights for others, and great little ideas. And I know that this time isn't, even though you say, hey, you got the gift of time and reflection, this time isn't easy, and you're just always so generous with your time to help other business owners. So thank you for being so open with us, sharing what's going on, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Yeah, look forward to having you over in Donegal.
Oh!
Yeah.
My passport is lonely. It needs to get warmed up again. Thank you so much, and have a great day. And I'm looking forward to seeing the entries, the contest for Soapbox Racer. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for joining us this morning, this lunch.
Thank you.